Today we are going to talk about how do we classify organisms. Let's see. The classification of organism. What is a classification? To make study of organisms easy and learn how various organisms are related to each other. And why do we classify organisms? Living organisms are classified mainly to avoid confusion. So where does this confusion come from? Think about a fish and we say, oh, that's a fish. But can we identify what kind of fish it is? Yes, maybe a few. But what if we couldn't identify the fish and we just say it's a fish? So the scientists found a way to identify them uniquely. They have some scientific name to it. Let's proceed to see what's there. So scientific classification. The professionals who specialize in classifying the organisms based on their shared characteristics are called taxonomists. These taxonomists are the people who classify the organisms based on their characteristics, which are related to each other. And how about the taxonomy? Taxonomy is a science that deals with this naming or classifying them. And what is this binomial nomenclature? It's a two-part name to describe an organism. And that's where we know what kind of animal or bird it is. Let's proceed to see what more we've got into this topic. Here comes the levels of classification. Whoop, this looks like a big order. So in order to keep this easy, look down for the word, for the phrase, Dear King Peter came over for good soup. D stands for dear, K stands for king, P stands for Peter, then came over for good soup. These are the levels of classification. So the first level of classification is domain. The domain is the highest level of classification and it has 3 domains in them. That is archaea, bacteria and eukarya. And the next is the kingdom. It has 6 kingdoms. These group of kingdoms make the domain. So the 6 kingdoms are archaea, bacteria, eubacteria, protists, fungi, plants and animals. The next level of classification is the phylum. The group that makes up a kingdom is called a phylum. Here in this level, it is divided in, the division is there into plants and fungi. And the next group is the class. A group that makes up a phylum is the class. And next comes the order, family, genus and species. And so don't forget the sentence, Dear King Peter came over for good soup, to remember these levels of classification. Domain, kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus and species. The classification levels of the house cat. So let's take the house cat as an example. The domain of the house cat is eukarya, which means it has cells that include nucleus and other organelles. And the kingdom of the house cat is Animalia, which means it's a subgroup of the domain eukarya. And the phylum level is the chordata, which means it has a backbone, the vertebrates, and the nerve cord connected to the brain. Yes, the nerve cord of the cat is connected to the brain, and yes, it has a bone, backbone. And the next class is the mammalia. These organisms produce milk for their young and have hair. Yes, the cats produce milk and they feed their young ones, kittens. And the next order is the carnivora, which means they have teeth. Not all the mammals are carnivores. And the family which the house cat belongs to is the Felidae, which means most cats have retractable claws, agile hunters with powerful front limbs and large eyes, and they have a rough tongue. Think about the family of the cats, which includes all kinds of cats like lions and tigers. Think about it. What are the kinds of cats in the cat family? We can't just say it is a cat. We need to specify them uniquely. So there comes the name of the cat named Felis. That is, the genus of the cat is Felis, which means the cat is a small cat and belongs to the house cat group. And next is the species, which share many characteristics and they interbreed, and that is called Felis cactus. The Felis cactus is the name of this particular unique house cat. Okay, so now we would have known how the classification levels of the house cat is. And now let's move on to the next topic. That is the binomial nomenclature. What is a binomial nomenclature? It is a scientific name. It's a two-part name to describe an organism. So who discovered this binomial nomenclature? Obvious, it is a scientist. His name is Carolus Linnaeus, who lived in the 1700s. He developed this two-part naming system to classify the organisms. The format of this scientific name is how to specify the scientific name is the genus comes first and the species comes second. The genus name should be capitalized and the species name is lowercase. For example, the Felis cactus, which we just saw, that's a house cat. That's a scientific name. We say this is a scientific name by just seeing the name two-part naming system. And look into the crab. This is a blue crab. You would say it's a blue crab. How about we had to specify the scientific name of it, and that is Callinetus and sapidus. Callinetus sapidus is this blue crab's scientific name. So the scientific name is specific and unique, and it does not change in any languages. It is going to remain the same. However, we say the scientific name is the same in any language. Now let's look into the vocabularies which we learned till now. Taxonomist, genus, species, binomial nomenclature. So I think this was quite an interesting topic to know how the living organisms are classified and the levels. And do not forget, dear King Peter came over for a good soup. And it's going to help you a lot in remembering the levels of classification. And please don't forget to subscribe, share, and like my channel, this page, this link, to keep in track of all the other videos. Thank you for watching.